Hey, what up, MVPs? Rico Knows here. Going to talk to you guys about Dana White Contender Series. We just had the end of episode, was that 5? Let me double check. Yeah, week 5, episode 5, season 9 of Dana White Contender Series. We're going to talk about the fighters, so we have some memories of them. We'll post this on the results show on YouTube and Patreon. Shout out to you guys for watching. Shout out to the MVP still on the Discord server watching right now. Nonetheless, first fight of the night, Chanel Dyer versus Carol Fora. Both fighters got contracts. Pretty rare when a loser gets a contract, but I knew this was coming. Dana White was out of his seat in the cage, congratulating both fighters. They look like really good fighters. So when the fight started, I instantly told you guys, oh my God, Chanel Dyer is a much better fighter. She moves like a UFC fighter. She fights like a UFC fighter. Just everything about her is right. Here's the problem. She was in there with a thumper. She was in there with Carol Fora, who just throws one mean-ass hook after one mean-ass hook. What didn't I see from Carol Fora? No kicks. And don't tell me she does kicks. I didn't see any in the entire fight. And then no real ability to get takedowns or anything. So we got a one-dimensional fighter that strikes with only her hands, and they're heavy hands. It reminds me a lot of Stephanie Andrade. I imagine she's going to hurt a lot of people in the women's strawweight division. It's gonna be a problem. So she won the fight. She goes out there to bang. Chanel Dyer, athletic, moves well, doesn't look like she has a chin, but she does a lot of volume and it looks right. She looks like one of them females who shadow boxes a lot. I think we're going to fade her a fair amount. She is athletic. She can move around, but it all depends on who they give her. Like they might give her some scrubs on those early prelim fights. She might be one of those fighters we stay away from completely because I can tell you this, I don't see her winning a whole lot of fights by knockout. I see a lot of it going to the judges' scorecards, and we don't want to put any money on that. So shout out to Dyer. Congratulations for getting a contract. You look like you belong in the UFC, but you don't look like somebody I'd be betting on. And I don't necessarily think I'd be fading you because you're a pretty good fighter. And if they give you shitty fighters on the early prelim, you're probably going to be competitive in those fights. Whereas Fora over here, we can predict that she's going to go out there and knock the block off of some of these, these fake fighters, the patty cake people, the shadow boxers in the locker room type girls. This is a real striker. She goes out there to bang. She don't have a lot of fluidity. She doesn't make strikes miss. She doesn't close the distance well. She bangs. When she gets in, she's throwing a hook, and it's going to hurt. So shout out to her. Next fight, we don't ever have to worry about Chasen Blair. I don't think he'll get another chance. This was his second time on Dana White Contender Series. He's not somebody we should be talking about. We'll never see him in the UFC. On the other side, Samuel Sanchez, 22 years old, 11-1. I'd love to know who he lost to and how he lost and why he lost. I'm going to go look that up because from what I saw, and I'm no hyperbole here, no exaggeration is what I'm saying. I thought this was one of the most complete fighters I've seen in a while. Like in a while. He looked explosive. He looked in physical shape like a professional. He didn't look like a regional fighter at all. As soon as he took off his uniform, I said, oh, wow, he's got an 8-pack. And I know we're not here to judge people's physique and modeling, but you can look at a guy and just go, wow, he throws with sheer aggression, real power. And as soon as he got Chasen Blair off his back, he pulled off the hooks. I yelled out to the MVPs on the Discord server, like, this is problems. Like, this is going to be really bad because he hurts. Like, he's hitting very hard. These odds makers were way wrong. They didn't have enough film on this guy to know how good he was. I think he's an elite fighter on the planet Earth. Like, I think he's that dangerous. That kid looks great. Yeah. Samuel Sanchez, don't forget the name. We're not fading him anytime soon. Next fight, Felipe Franco from the same gym, was supposed to be undefeated. This is the type of fighter they don't want in the UFC. He is a crotch sniffer who can't really do anything. I thought he was pathetic. He was fighting Freddie Vidal, who was on 4 days' notice, 6 days' notice. This is a elementary school teacher and a high school wrestling coach and high school football coach and all this other stuff. Yeah, Freddie Vidal has no ability to really strike. He's just big. He's tough. He's got a lot of heart, man. He pulled it out in the third, gets a submission when he had no energy left. He was extremely exhausted. Dana White's going to give him another fight, so we'll see him on the last episode in about 5 weeks. We'll see him on the last episode of Dana White Contender Series. He's going to have to make weight at 205. He didn't. He said he cut 30 pounds in 6 days, and he was still 5 pounds overweight. So he's walking around at 240. That tells me a lack of nutrition. That tells me a lack of professionalism. If you're walking around at 240 and you fight at 205, I can understand 220, but not 240. That's just not, we're not doing that. So they're going to give him a full fight camp, let him get down. I will say this, he has heavy hips, he wrestles well, he can't strike to save his life. He's very one-dimensional. I would imagine Dana White doesn't want this guy in the UFC, just by the way he fought. So his last fight on this Dana White Contender Series, they're probably going to give him a straight-up ass kicker. They're going to go out and find a thumper. They're going to go out there and find a banger, a brawler, somebody who's not going to let him just have heavy hips and take over on top. No. they're going to go out there and get somebody, not another grappler, not a jiu-jitsu black belt. They're going to give him a Muay Thai kickboxer dude who just flatlines him. And I don't think he has the fluidity to make anything miss. He has zero footwork. He has zero takedown defense. What he has is a lot of heart, guys. A lot of heart. And he was much heavier in this fight. Next fight was Screech versus Larion Douglas. Larion Douglas knocked him out in 36 seconds. It felt faster. Larion Douglas looked like a very crisp striker. What I don't like about him, he's in Cub Swanson's camp. All the fighters in Cub Swanson's camp don't really move me like that. And what I mean by that is they just don't. They do enough to win by points. They tell you they're doing a lot of data collection and analysis, like during the fight IQ type stuff. What it is they treat the sport, they treat it like a game. They don't go out there to win. They go out there to kind of game the game, if you will. So it's bothersome to me. While Larion Douglas went out here and knocked out Screech, who just sucks, you heard him saying, oh, usually my knockouts come in the second round because I'm a slow starter. Well, what are you doing in the first round? You're just measuring distance the whole time. You're not really going to get it. So I'm a little hesitant there. I also want to tell you that Larion Douglas looked like a world-class fighter in this fight, but he's fighting an absolute fish. Like, he's fighting a guy that has no business in the UFC. No business on the Dana White Contender Series. This is the second time he's been there. He's been getting knocked out by both superstars. So for me, watching Larion Douglas, I'd be careful. Vegas is going to price him out of your range big time, and you're going to have to figure out, like, if a guy looks that crisp and he looks that amazing, then why does he have 5 losses? He should be 11-1. Why does he have 5 losses? 13 wins, 5 losses is somebody who doesn't get it done. On the regional scene, you have 5 losses? I got a real problem with that. So be careful with those odds. This is not somebody I think you should be parlaying, somebody I would be tailing. I actually not that excited, and I thought he wasn't challenged in this fight at all. So we haven't seen him face adversity. And I'd imagine when he faces adversity, he loses fights. Yeah. Next fight. Shout out to Steven Asplund. Steven Asplund, he looks terrible. He used to be 500 pounds. He's now 261 pounds. He's got loose, flabby skin everywhere. He looks like a cow. He's got udders. He looks like a pregnant dog. I don't know what to say about him. He's got all these different flaps of skin. It looks unbearable. He's got a lot of back hair, all this stuff. Get past all that. Get past all the visuals. Look at him for what he is, right? He's a heavyweight, and he moves his feet when he strikes. He doesn't just throw out punches that are laboring and slow. He moves with speed. He was able to get off a counter strike after blocking a strike. He threw 2 punches, and before the opponent could throw another strike, he threw a 3rd strike. Go back and watch the replay. It's incredible. I think he has great hand speed. I like the way he moves. Obviously, I love his confidence and the way he talks. We need to be a little careful if he runs into somebody who can eat one of his punches. But in this particular case, he was fighting a bouncer at a bar, and he beat up the bouncer at the bar. If these two fought, if they fought 10 times, I think they would be 5-5. I actually think that if Anthony Graziano over here, this dude, if he landed his strikes, he could have knocked out Steven the same way, because Steven's not defending his jaw. He's just going out there to bang. But it's going to be really hard to hit this dude if he's going first. If he's first and he's fast. So we'll see what happens. I thought it was exciting. As a heavyweight, I don't like slow lumbering heavyweights. He's not slow and lumbering. That dude's really got it. So I was impressed with Steven. I would just be careful. Heavyweight fights are very volatile, and somebody gets knocked out. So those are all the contracts. Tonight, the guy that was most impressive to me was Samuel Sanchez by an astronomical mile. I'm not exaggerating when I tell you that looks like a superior prospect, like a future contender. We're going to have to find out. Eventually, these guys lose and they get fraud, quote-unquote fraud checked. But to me, I saw a world-class fighter. World-class fighter that nobody's talking about, nobody knows about. That's what I saw. And I know when I see it, I know it. So, really believe in this guy. And even though Larion Douglas had an amazing knockout, the opposition was a scrub. And I'm not too sure how great he really is. I'm being honest. I know the camp he fights out of. I know the way their approach is. If you don't know Cub and we're from the same area. Cub got Palm Springs tattooed on his lower. It says SoCal with two palm trees. We're from the same area. We're the same age. Grew up in the same boxing gyms, the same wrestling gyms. Shout out to him, Timothy Bradley, me. We're all from the same area. I've known Cub my whole life. Okay, that's real talk. So I'm just letting you know. I don't believe in Larion Douglas like that. Nothing personal, just the assessment. Hopefully, he makes a believer out of me over the next couple fights, but we won't be on him as a lock. The odds will be absurd, and I don't like the way they visualize things. Your friends don't know, but Rico knows. Peace, y'all.